And I will share out the slide deck. Oops. Let's see. Share. This. Here we go. Can you see the slides? Are the slides showing on your screen?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So this is the Getting Active with Passive Income webinar. Oh, you know what? I get to turn off the waiting room because I can't let everybody in. There we go. I have created this webinar in response to a survey I sent out and asked everybody on my email list what would they like to learn about from me. And they said, we'd like to know how to get started. So a lot of people are in the getting started with passive income position, and that is where this originated. These are the first steps in how to begin making passive income. And Farnoosh Tarabi, which I just ran across yesterday, said, you don't have to be wealthy to invest, but you have to invest to be wealthy. So this is helpful to learn the beginning steps. So congratulations for showing up for yourself and for taking the time to schedule this to prioritize your financial security, for caring enough to want a change, for trusting me to discuss it with you. You may or may not know me as a financial coach. And I appreciate you giving feedback and input to this webinar because, as I said, I do tweak things. I love being in a learning organization. At the end of this hour and a half, you'll understand the money stories that might be holding you back. Everyone has money stories. You'll embrace your money archetype. It's kind of like your personality with money. And you'll discover the opportunities in your budget. Now, that might take a little while for you to discover, but that'll be on your plate by the time you end this meeting. And you will select one way to get the money and choose one avenue for passive income. So this is a slide that talks about what we carry. This is sort of the box that we're in. We all were sort of placed in a box and grew in a box that involves our family stories, our history, our culture. There might be some people here who are raised in different cultures. And right now, Matt is sitting in a different culture than we are in California. Your birthplace, your home place where you call home. And right now, Matt's calling at least 2 places home. Your religion definitely has an impact on your box. Your gender, of course. Your appearance, your race, your birth order, your risk profile. So the ones that I've colored green actually impact your money stories, your credit rating, and your money archetype. So you're carrying your credit rating with you right now, whether you realize it or not. You're carrying your risk profile and your money archetypes. We go through all of that in a Kickstart class, but today we're going to talk about your family stories a little. So there are money stories. Oh, and incidentally, I've put numbers on the slides, every 5th slide, so I don't get behind because there are so many slides. So the money stories. Everyone was raised with some sort of money stories when they were young. These are some of the ones that I was raised with. So we always give to others. My mom said we always give to others. And when we were done with our clothes, if they didn't fit anyone else in the family, she put them in a box and she donated them to the Goodwill. There is always enough. I never felt like we were starving or that I would end up on the streets, that we would always find, oh, my mom found money on a regular basis. She said, I find the bills, you guys find the change and I find the bills. And it was true. I don't know how she did it, but she would find bills on the ground and we were always finding coins. So that was the happy money stories in my family. We were pretty poor. My mom was raising 4 kids by herself on, very little money. And it was always, the money just got through to the end of the month. There was never any extra. So the love of money is the root of all evil is a quote from the Bible. And many people have heard that one. Rich people are selfish. That is a story that is typically in the heads of people who have less. Don't ask for anything happened in my family. She made it very clear that we would get everything we needed. So don't ask for anything because you know there's not enough money to do anything else. So it is a learning experience for me as an adult to learn how to ask for anything. Money doesn't grow on trees. Of course, a lot of us heard this, and money will burn a hole in your pocket. My mom always said that to us, which is a story of not having faith in you to treat your money well, right? To not think about how you're spending money. So she said, don't carry cash. So these are stories in my life. What are some stories that you had when you were growing up about money? There must be some stories in your family. Lindy, any stories you can think of?
I came up, well, we were poor as well, very poor. But I had this belief, and still feel it sometimes, that money is more important than me.
Wow.
And, you know, my mom would leave every day to go to work, and I would hide in her car so I wouldn't be left at home with the babysitter who was a real wacko.
Wow.
And somehow I got that belief that her going to work and making money was more important than my well-being. And so I've really kind of held money at bay. It was a bad thing.
Huh.
And I kind of ignore it. I still have some of those traits, but I know it's not more important than me anymore.
Good. Yes, we will get into your money archetype a little bit later, but it sounds like it kind of fed into your money archetype as well. And Derica, what were some stories in your family around money?
Sorry, the unmute button. Money was definitely a struggle. I also was raised by a single mother with 4 kids. She was on welfare, and we found ourselves homeless a lot.
Wow.
So we would, you know, living out of cars, motels, people's garages, just pretty much wherever. We would get food from free food banks,
Wow.
you know, things like that. And I've done so much healing on that. So it's like going back and trying to think specifically on the words, but you know, there was just never enough. Don't ask. Same thing you said, don't ask. There's just not enough.
Yeah.
Money's too hard to make. We're not lucky. You know, you've got to be super lucky to be rich. And it was just nothing I didn't see life. I didn't know anyone who had money. I never seen it. So it was just so foreign. Like the whole conversation about money, we just really never had.
Right.
Life was just a struggle, you know?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my website too, I talk about how nobody talked about money when I was growing up because she was just making it stretch to the end of the month and she didn't have any way of making it grow. She didn't know how to get off the hamster wheel she was on. How about you, Matt? What were the stories in your family when you're growing up with money? You're the people I can see right now.
So it's generally, I mean, there's been money. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, crazy, especially back in those days when I was growing up. I was in the communism Eastern Bloc, so in Poland.
Oh,
So even money, there was nothing to buy.
right.
But because there was literally nothing. That changed in the 90s, and there was always food in the house. I mean, there was always money for clothes and stuff like that, but it was never like, it wasn't to the excess. Now, in terms of parents, well, my mom was the type, I'll give everything away. My dad was the type of, that it doesn't grow on trees, but then he didn't give me any financial education about money.
Okay.
Honestly, it was just more, he didn't teach me how to, you know, take care of money, how to make money, how to bring money, that kind of stuff. And then when I was traveling to the States, when I was a young kid, because I had the opportunity, my grandma, she kind of, this is actually what I found out now through doing the program I'm doing, is that my grandma always had this kind of, whenever I came and I wanted to make something out of myself in the States and I worked hard to get the money and I, you know, tried to make something out of it, she would be like, "Oh, you like money, or you like money too much. That's not good."
Hmm.
So it kind of, in my head, it was like, why is it bad? I mean, there's an opportunity. Why shouldn't I grab the opportunity? And for many years, she used to kind of downsize that on the term that he likes money too much. That's not good that he likes money. All he cares about is money.
So it's like shame around money. I wonder if part of that was cultural or if it was just your grandma. Was it cultural because you were in a communist area?
Well, she left in the 60s, and she had the opportunity. She got a green card and she left, for the exact same reason, for money.
Oh.
And I truly believe that our part of the family that stayed in Poland was always considered the second category citizen.
Huh.
So my sister's mom and her family, they left, and they're great. I mean, and when we come, we was always treated a little bit like the other part of the family that, is coming and not, so.
Interesting.
It was definitely weird. I overcame that a long time ago, and I stopped bothering myself with that part of the family. But it has somehow stuck in my head for these years.
Really interesting, isn't it? How different our stories are. I was talking to my buddy yesterday in this leadership program, and she was raised in a family where her father threw money around. He bought rounds at all the bars. He spent money on strangers. He threw money around, and she has learned to be pretty extravagant with her money. It's like a totally different story than how I was raised. Honestly, I can't even imagine that right now. So her attitude toward even big money is quite different than mine. I learned that you have to be very careful with it because there's just not much. Sounds like many of us have those stories. So now you can understand how the money stories in your life can impact how you live and work with money. And you can uncover your money stories. Actually, it's a really good exercise to sit down with someone. This is a 5-minute exercise. You actually put yourself on a timer. It's called a spring cleaning. And you tell your friend, let's say it's a woman, you'd say, I want you to question me about money. And she says, what you got on money? And you just start spewing everything you've got on money. You just start spewing. You're not writing anything down. It's just anything that comes out of your gut, out of your heart, out of your mind, anything on money for 5 minutes. Spew, 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 spew until you get to the end. And if you stop, she'll say, thank you. What else you got on money? Thank you. What else you got on money? All the way to the end of 5 minutes. It's a really quick exercise, and it can be very liberating. You run into all your stories and your attitudes and perhaps what's holding you back. Your stories exist, so you can commit to not let them run your life. I am no longer allowing my, impoverished stories to run my life, and you can uncover them, put them in their place, and don't leave them in charge. So for us to get ahead in the world, especially those of us who are raised in scarcity, don't let our money stories be in charge. Here are the money archetypes, and this is your first handout. Let's see how I'm going to give you the handout. I think I stopped sharing. I haven't shared a document let's see, in the chat room. I'm going to post. Noreen and Roger are listening in Eastern Daylight. That's fine. It's good to see you, Noreen and Roger. And I am going to grab a document. Oh my. All right. I didn't do this right. I think I'm going to have to send you the documents afterwards because I actually don't know how to attach them in here. Let's see. No. All right. I will get this right next time. It's not on my Google Drive, and it won't let me grab them from my C drive. So I will go back to the slides. There is a document I'm giving you that is the Money Archetype Survey, and it allows you to sit down and answer the questions and figure out what your money archetype is, but we might be able to figure it out just by the slides here. Also, it's really cool to do this with a partner. Really cool to do it with a partner. So I'll go back to the slide share. All right. share. So here you go. There are 8 different money archetypes. The guardian, and just FYI, there are 4 kids in my family. I have 3 siblings. We got 4 different money archetypes. That is not unusual. The guardian, I want to keep it safe so I don't lose it. I'm afraid it's all going to fall apart. Pleasure seeker says, let's just spend it now. It's like, live today. We don't know what tomorrow brings. That's my sister. I have a brother who's a guardian, a sister who's a pleasure seeker. The idealist they tend to be spiritual, philanthropic, creative people, and they believe in using money for idealistic purposes. The saver, that's me, grows a sense of security and abundance by growing money. The star gets importance and recognition from using their money. So they would tend to wear the clothes that have labels, fancy cars, really advertise what they're doing with money. That's a star attitude. And innocent just says, money comes in, money goes out. I've met many of these people. Money comes in, money goes out. I'm not sure how it all works, but it seems to take care of itself. They don't generally have a plan. A caretaker generally uses their money to take care of others. That could be animals. It could be relatives, friends who are in need. One girl that I coached for several months was in high school, and she had spent most of the money that she had saved on buying a friend presents for Christmas because her friend's family didn't have money. Well, that's a caretaker. Empire builder, we're all familiar with one of these who used to be the president. They will put time and money into something to grow it. If you give that person money, they will make it bigger. That's an empire builder. This is all based on the book by Brent Kessel, which I highly recommend. So there are some things, there are emotional states around these money archetypes. I'm not sure if we're running out of time here to do this, 9:18. So there's an anxious feeling around being a guardian. There is sort of a greedy and self-absorbed negative state around being a pleasure seeker. Idealists tend to be distrustful about money. Savers tend to be futuristic, looking into the future, and analytical about their money. A star could feel phony with all the labels and the expressionism with the money. An innocent could feel helpless or victimized. People who might be hit with scams because they really don't understand how the money works. A caretaker could end up feeling angry and overburdened, taking care of others. And the empire builder, stressed and lonely and very driven. These are just some. Now, these are also the positive states. There are some wonderful positive states behind these money archetypes too. So what you do is balance your archetype out with someone else. Because I am a saver, the person I definitely would not marry is another saver, because what happens? Nobody spends the money. So you save it, you make a number somewhere, and nobody spends the money. So as a saver, I could align with a pleasure seeker, an idealist, or a caretaker, someone who has definitely a different attitude. Let's say you are an empire builder. You could pair with a pleasure seeker or an idealist. A pleasure seeker wants to be with someone who has much more plan around the money. So a guardian or a saver, maybe even an empire builder. You see how these align? So it's good to have these people in your life. If you understand your money archetype, they help balance you and you help balance them. And when you take the money archetype survey, I strongly suggest you take it with your partner, whoever that is. Figure out how you balance and counterbalance each other's personalities, because so many divorces and breakups happen because of money issues. And my ex-husband, I believe, was probably a pleasure seeker. He had absolutely no plan for his money and bought what my friend called gold-plated tools. I mean, he just, let's go buy the best. Yeah, okay. So the value of knowing your money archetype, you embrace your archetype and all it holds for you. So it holds pluses and it holds some negative feelings. You know your strengths and weaknesses. You understand how to partner with people who have complementary archetypes. and you understand how two can be in conflict, and learn how to speak to someone else's money archetype. If someone spoke to me about what an outrageous purchase the car that I just bought was, and how I could be feeding the starving people in India, I mean, someone could go on and really, really make me feel guilty, especially if they were a saver, right? So if I have someone with a different archetype who could say, you know, you've wanted this for a long time, you earned the money, it is a beautiful car, it'll last you a long time. If they speak to me in my archetype, it'll be really helpful in our relationship. And you can even understand how to, like if you put two empire builders together, they could probably build something really large and it wouldn't be relational. It would be around wealth. Now, what do you think of when you think of financial allocations? Let's look at the words. Financial planning, financial tracking, economic tracking, money allocations, budgeting. Like these words have different weight to them, right? They all mean the same thing. So what I call it is managing your marbles. How many marbles do you have? Where are they going? And where would you like them to go? Because if you're not managing your money every month, then at the end of the month, it actually manages you. And you have to figure out, oh God, what do I do next? So the first step is understanding your money archetype and your stories around money. But the next step is to actually get your handle on where your marbles are. A 30-day challenge, you're all welcome to do this, is install your choice of a free budgeting app on your phone. Or if you don't have a phone, you don't like to use apps on your phone, just use a spreadsheet. I used a spreadsheet for many, many years. Track your marbles for just 1 month. Just 1 month. Every cent that comes out of your household, every cent that comes out of your budget, track what you're doing with it. You might find some surprising things. There was a young man I worked with who was spending hundreds of dollars on his dog every month. He said, well, I needed to do this, I needed to do that. I mean, he adored his dog. As long as he recognized that he needed a $350 line item in his budget for dog every month, then that's fine. It's his value system, right? But he was really surprised at the end of the month how much was going to his dog. You're welcome to send me your aha moments about your budget at the end of the month. It's lisa@workforcemillionaire.com, and you might end up in my newsletter. I can protect your name if you don't want to be mentioned, but it's really good to find out what people discover in a 30-day budgeting exercise, and you might like it. Some of them are really easy. So I went out and looked at the top evaluated ones for you, in case you'd like to know. The 3 top ones were called Mint and Wallet and Money Manager. They have millions of downloads. And they have 4.5 star rating, 4.7, and 4.9 star rating. I don't mind which one you use. It doesn't really matter as long as you're tracking where your money is going. So just install one, track your expenses for a month. And what did you discover? I would recommend Mint. I've heard more good things about it than any of the others. All right, so now you've embraced your money archetype and all it holds for you. Right? Do you have a feel for what you are? Do any of you have a feeling for what you are based on those slides we just went through? Linda, you might be an innocent.
Definitely. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, money comes in, money goes out. It seems to work.
Yeah, I don't want to look at it.
Mm.
It's a bother.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whether I have hardly enough or plenty, like I don't even know what to do with it.
Okay. Derica, do you have a feel for it? Not yet? No, okay. Matt, do you have a feel for what your money archetype is? Not yet. Okay.
I'd be probably a saver slash builder.
Okay.
I have been saving for the longest time, but for the last 3 years, I've been putting that money into different places. So
Good.
but it's going really slow. So
but you feel comfortable in the world of money and watching the numbers and watching them grow. So I think if I trace
Well,
myself all the
the
way,
problem is that, I'm sorry, the problem is that I'm on a fixed income basically, and I'm only trying to create, I've been only creating a passive income the last 2 years. I
okay,
don't want to be reliant on somebody else for the rest of my life.
yeah,
I want to be relying on myself to be able to create it.
got it. Yeah, when I was a teenager, I saved for my bike. I modeled and I did babysitting jobs when I was a teenager, and I saved the money for my bike so I could ride to high school on a bike. And it got stolen on day 28. The good news is the guy I was babysitting for owned the Schwinn bike shop. So he got me a good deal on my next bike. And I had to save money for the shoes for me to run track because my mom couldn't afford any of that stuff. So thinking back, how I treated money is if I had a goal, I was good for it. I could save for a goal. So I was always paying attention to money, I think. So now the next question is, show me the money. How do I get the money to begin my passive income portfolio? Given now that I have money stories, I have a money archetype, and I'm budgeting. So what if, let's see, where is the money? The first one is, did you discover any money? You'll find this out after you track your money. Did you discover any money available in your monthly budget? Can you get cheaper insurance? Can you reduce your overhead on a payment? So sometimes you can refinance a house and you can get the mortgage payment down by $200 a month. Can you have more dinners at home? I know many Americans tend to eat their money. So many Americans just, as soon as everything opens up from COVID-19, they're going to go out eating every night because they're so tired of eating at home. Everyone's not that way, but I know a lot of Americans eat their money. Or what is available in your home that you no longer need or use that someone else would love to buy? We're going to talk about some of those avenues. And the third one is leverage, something that you already have. You can leverage your car, your spare bedroom, your shopping trip, your storage space, my land, many different ways to leverage what you already have, possibly. So here are some examples. This was taken actually off an article that I found, and I have a handout for you that shows 50 different ways to find money right where you are right now. 25 of them were from me, 25 of them were from another person, another woman who did the exercise. So in that handout, you will get 50 ways, and the exercise, here's the list. Library, book sales. So if you're a book buyer, I strongly recommend library book sales. Boutique resale shops. You can buy your clothes there. You can also sell clothes there. There's an app called Steady that shows you short-term income opportunities. I just found out about this. Honey is an app you install on your computer, and it shows you if there's a discount on whatever it is you're about to buy. There's Neighbor is an app where you can rent some of your space. I have 10 acres. That wouldn't be so hard here. Cell tower hosting, which nobody on my road wants to do, but I have been asked if I would be willing to host a cell tower on my acreage. There are no cell towers where I live, so you can't get cell service here. And pretty much everybody on this road would say, no, we don't want the radiation or whatever it is that cell towers produce. But they would pay me hundreds of dollars a month to host a cell tower here. And probably many people would be thrilled. Airbnb, an extra room you might have. Some of the most famous Airbnbs are like tent houses and tree houses. It's amazing, actually. I have a friend who has a tent house who rents it as an Airbnb. If you want someone to help, instead of paying them their full wages, you can get someone from Workaway. I had someone here for 3 months from Russia, and he was a Workaway guy, and he helped around the house and helped do some projects outside. And he's here for a room and board. Uber, of course, there's Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart, so you can drive things around if you're normally driving around anyway. Tally is an app that helps you pay down your debt faster. My Points is shopping online. I could do gardening or pruning for a neighbor. I'm very, very good at that. You can make extra meals and sell some. Commission work at something you excel at. Maybe you know how to paint. Maybe you know how to sew. Maybe you know how to, here you go. Nextdoor, Craigslist, eBay are selling sites. So the document I have for you, again, is 50 ways to find money just in your current environment generally without taking on other jobs, although there's Fiverr. I met a woman recently who's interested in my money program who was really, really good at coming up with titles and taglines for events. I mean, she was fabulous. And I am sure that people would pay her to find their next title and tagline for their events. And that's just something that is naturally in her creative mind. So money is energy. We know that because of how we were raised. Some of us were raised around money as negative energy. Some were raised around money as positive energy. You could throw it around and make people happy. Some of us felt money was tight energy. I felt very scratchy energy around money because I always felt that we were just one disaster away from being on the streets when I was young. When I was 12, I watched my mother balance her budget on the back of an envelope. It came down to $5. $5 for anything that might happen during that month. And I thought, oh, what if I have a cavity? What if the tire blows on the car? She always bought retread tires. What if something happens to the car? What if? So I was doing risk management in my head when I was 12 years old, and it felt like the world could fall apart around her money. And so that created very scratchy energy in me around money. So now, given your money archetype and your budget, you have either found, right, after you've done 30 days of your budget, you either found $100 in your budget, or you found $100 worth of stuff in your house or in your life that you don't need anymore that you could sell, or you have used another way of acquiring, let's just call it $100. And you do have the talent and ability to bring more money into your household without another job. Most Americans do. Okay, so let's talk about what is passive income. People talk about passive income and then they talk about having a side gig. Side gig is not passive income. Passive income, this is a colloquial definition, but it's money being earned regularly with little or no effort on the part of the person receiving it. And I think of it as money trickling into my account while I'm asleep. That's about as passive as you can get. So you're not putting in effort for this money. I'm going to show you the top picks in the United States anyway for passive income. Number one, rental income. So I would put next to them what kind of income you would look for on those. Securities, in other words, stocks. And mine, because I count them up every year, mine made 25% overall last year. That's a really high rate of return. It was a good year. Stock dividends, that's when stocks pay you money, but you still own the stocks. Peer-to-peer lending. These are fairly new models in the last decade. REITs, real estate investment trust. My high return on a real estate investment trust was 12%. This is my high. Many people don't get that high. Certificate of deposit, I looked them up for 2021, 0.25% to 0.55% for 5 months to a year of putting your money in a certificate of deposit. Bonds. This is the top return bond right now, Morningstar municipal bonds, just under 4%, and that's a 5-year bond. Savings. The best rates you can find in a savings account right now is 0.5% per year. Information products. I mean, you can make courses and ebooks, et cetera, and then the money will just trickle in. So let's say you have a Udemy course. After you've posted it, the money just trickles in. It becomes evergreen, right? So as you can see by looking at all of these, to have any of these forms of passive income, you did your work up front, right? So you made an investment and then your money works for you. So now you can go to bed and your money will work for you. For the purpose of this workshop, I chose one here. So which one, given the numbers, would you choose?
Rental income's good.
Rental income's good.
Securities.
Security is good, right? Other ones are lower return. So for the purposes of this exercise today, I chose securities to give you some basics about stocks. So that was, oh, we're on time, we're doing well, okay. So now you know why some passive income avenues are chosen over others, right? All avenues have risk of some sort. Some have higher returns. Some you have to have more upfront money to invest in them. And in order to begin your passive income portfolio, you get to be ready to make a decision for yourself about which of those passive income channels you're going to start with. I'm not here to dictate which one of those you're going to choose. But today, just for example, we're going to talk a little about stocks, which can be an entire, that's a 6-month program I have, but just to brush over the top of what stocks investing is. And you understand that putting all your money in any one channel, any one investment channel would be risky. That doesn't matter if it's real estate or it's stock market or it's bonds or whatever. Now bonds are much, much less risky. But it's never advised that you put all your money in one basket. So let's talk about how to invest in stocks. This is going to be a very high level brush on this because it looks like it has a lot of upside potential. And I don't remember, I don't think it said it in your registration page, but I invested in 2 stocks during shelter in place and they went up 2.4 times. So a $2,000 investment, no, the $2,000 investment would have ended up being worth $5,400, whatever that multiplier is. That is, if you had been riding the same horse with me and we had been investing in the same stock starting April 2020, your $2,000 investment would have made enough to give you $5,400 sitting there right now. I haven't sold them. They're still sitting there. They could still go down, right? They can also still go up. So those are the kinds of decisions that I help you learn how to make that make sense in that economy. I looked at what was going to be a good bet in that economy because we almost went to deflation May of last year, which is scary when your economy goes upside down, when your money is worth more tomorrow than it is today. Yeah, it's a very, I don't think we've had this in the United States, but we came very close. We had a 0.3% inflation last May. I think it was when our economy was about to collapse because no one was producing anything. No one could do anything because everyone was sheltered. What is the stock market? Maybe some of you can define this just off the top of your head, but it usually refers to one of the major market indexes like Dow Jones Industrial or Standard & Poor's 500. And when you purchase a public company's stock, you're buying a little piece of that company. So the stock market is only publicly traded companies. And it's hard to track all of them. There are thousands of them. So the Dow and the S&P index, they include just a little selection of the stock market. And people view the movement of the prices of those selections of stock to be representative of the entire US market. I personally watch the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones once a month and see what's happening with my investments. Usually, as an individual trader, you would buy stocks online through the stock market with a brokerage account. There are also robo-advisors that tell you based on who you are and how old you are, this is what you should be buying. Or often there are employee retirement plans that just, they invest for you and they don't actually let you manage the money. They manage it for you. I had that for many years. But after I got out of high tech, I started managing it all with my brokerage accounts. So what's a good brokerage account firm? Here are the biggest ones. And the ones that are green are ones that I have had or currently have accounts in. Best for beginners. There's also Charles Schwab, which I've also had an account in. But these are highly rated brokerage firms. There are dozens. And this is where the third handout comes in. I have a third handout that's going to give you 3 links to evaluations by NerdWallet and Motley Fool. These are public, that show you dozens. NerdWallet evaluates 23 different brokerage firms, and Motley Fool evaluates, I think, 10 and 10, so another 20. In general, these come out really high. So the biggest are these ones here, and the best for beginners. And who's in common? It looks like Fidelity is in common. My favorite currently is TD Ameritrade. I just like the way they set up their interface. It's easy for me to do all the stuff I need to do in there. It's easy for me to see the history of my stocks. And Schwab I had first when I was really young. I started a Schwab account. Fidelity and Vanguard tend to be the ones that were started by my companies. This is where they put my 401k money. So let's compare some of them. And see over here in the left column, this is the name of the brokerage firm and how many stars it got in its rating. And here are the pluses, here are the minuses. And I took this and I put it into your worksheet. So I don't need to cover it all here. But let's say bottom line is overall, TD Ameritrade is great. Overall, if you're going to do cryptocurrency trading, Gemini is great. It even insures your trades, so you're not going to get hacked or ripped off by somebody. I'm sure you've all heard those stories. And Robinhood is famous for also being able to do crypto and fractional shares, but no IRA accounts, no mutual funds, no bonds. So it depends on what you want, what you're looking for. Any questions about this? You guys can pipe in with questions if you feel the need. We are being recorded. I am happy to take questions. I'd love to know if there's any incongruity or something that you don't understand about these slides. So,
Well, I have a quick question about crypto, because I've been kind of avoiding it. I've been avoiding everything, but the idea of crypto and how much it jumps up and how
Yes.
volatile it is.
yes.
I already have, some chunks of money to invest. I just feel frozen on what to do with them.
What's your question?
What do you think about crypto?
I did an entire summit on crypto, and I have that available for people who are in my programs. And I asked people to make their own decision around crypto. It made sense when I spoke to these experts in the cryptocurrency arena, why you would invest in crypto. It appears to be something that's going to happen in the future. It has wild fluctuations. It's called an adoption curve. And I've seen adoption curves before, and it can go up wildly and it can go down 20% and up wildly and down 25% and up wildly. And to me, it feels like a heart attack. I think it has a huge upside potential and it's huge risk. So back at that list of the things you carry, one of the things you're carrying is your risk profile. And the financial advisors always ask me, what is my risk profile? So if you think of it as how much are you willing to lose before you will pull all your money out of something? And my answer has always been 80%. And that is a very high number. And why that's in my heart, I'm not sure. I think it's because I was raised poor. And if 80% of my money dissolved, I would still be wealthy beyond my initial dreams. So I'm willing to lose 80%. Now, you can, the value of your crypto can practically vanish overnight. So it depends on how comfortable you feel with your risk profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 3 easy ways to invest. And we're going to talk a little bit about like how much time would you want to spend on investing? When I refer to a stock, that's a share in an individual company. An ETF is an exchange traded fund. It's kind of like a bucket that they can put stocks and bonds and commodities into. And it can also track a fund, like an index fund. That's the third bullet here. And you can buy one at any time during the day, like you can buy a stock at any time during the day. But an index fund, the third bullet, directly reflects the market. And let's just say it's an S&P 500 index fund. The S&P has risen 200% in the last 10 years. What's that? About 20% a year. So your investment in that SPX index fund would have tripled. So $1,000 would be $3,000 now. And you can only buy an index fund at the end of the day after the market's closed. And different brokers offer different exchange traded funds. You might want a green fund. You might want an agricultural fund. You might want a new technologies fund. You might want a Asia Pacific fund. And you would find on one of the previous slides that some of the stock brokerages won't let you buy foreign securities. So make sure if you're going to be buying securities that are foreign, that your brokerage fund allows that. Your stockbroker allows that. So the top 3 stock market investments. I think I already covered some of this, but it's about 10% a year in the S&P 500, roughly. So when a financial advisor sits down and says, well, you'll make roughly this much with all your money and you have in the stock market, roughly they will put in 10%. And then I already mentioned you can't buy an index fund anytime during the day. You buy it actually when it closes at the end of the day. And then the average stock market returns about 10% a year for about the last 100 years. That's a pretty good track record. That doesn't mean it can't go down 2% this year, but it means over time, it'll go up about 10% a year. So here's an important slide. What describes you here? Are you an analytical person? Love doing the numbers. Actually, I don't mind numbers at all because they're always definitive for me. It's like there's an answer. Or you say, I hate math, don't want to do homework. I have several hours a week. I like to read, but I don't want to do math. Or I'm a busy professional and I just don't have the time to learn how to analyze stocks. Okay, so those are all different investors. But they are investors if they would like to be invested in the stock market. They're all investors. And these are all different things that they would be invested in and different ways that they would go about it. Now, this is my top 10 for how to decide which stock to buy. And this is also in a handout that I will give you. I'll send it all to you in email. Number 1, make sure you value it. Whatever it is that, like, it's your becoming friends with a company is the way I look at it. You believe in them. People ask me if I short companies. That means, do I bet against them? No, never. I actually believe in the companies that I invest in. And I don't want to say you're going to fail and I'm going to bet on you failing today or tomorrow or this week or next month. So I've never shorted a company. You believe in their product or service. That means I am not going to buy Philip Morris. I don't believe in cigarettes. I don't believe they're good for people. I wouldn't want to be involved in that company. They changed their names that everybody doesn't know they're Philip Morris, but it's the same company, and I wouldn't buy stock in Philip Morris. The company has strong leadership and skin in the game. That means, and this is on your handout, you can go looking at the SEC reports for every publicly traded company and see if the leaders of that company have stock options. That means their company stock goes down, their net worth goes down. That's their skin in the game. They might even be paid in stock. Many leaders are paid in stock. So it behooves them to keep the company moving well financially. The stock is in a current industry trend. In other words, like, you're not going to go out and put money in a coal company right now, right? You're not going to go out and put money in AT&T landline company. And personally, I know AT&T is not spending a lot of money and effort on their landlines because I have one. The company has a defensible moat. That's really, really important. In other words, Some newfangled company can't walk into the market this year or next year and take over their market. What's the defensible moat of Google? Massive data centers, massive ability to analyze data, massive ability to get us everything, information really, really fast that's out there on the internet. It'd be really hard to eat Google's lunch right now. They are so well invested in their technology and their data centers. So they have a huge defensible moat. They have a solid strategy. You see their strategy in the papers that they file with the Securities and Exchange Commission. It shows what their strategy is. Even if you haven't bought the stock yet, you can go out and look up their strategy. Their earnings tend to be up and to the right. Let's see if I can do that on the screen. Up and to the right, up and to the right. And you can see the numbers year over year because those are in the reports. And the balance sheet shows that they have cash flow. The company isn't generating more debt than income. That would be like you paying every month for everything on your credit card and you can't pay off your credit card at the end of the month. That means your debt ratio is too high for your living. And you would need to reduce your living expenses so you're not in the red. Price to earnings ratio, that has to do with comparing stocks that are in the same market. And then price to earnings to growth ratio, this is something that you would learn in a stock class, shows, yeah, okay, the price of the stock and the earnings of the stock and how fast is the company growing. So let's compare a couple of companies. Here's Home Depot and Lowe's. This data is from November 2020. Where are we on our time? We're doing well. Okay. So these were some of the different ratios that we would be comparing, right? So the PE ratio, it looks like Lowe's is a better price for the earnings that they're making. Projected earnings growth rate, well, Lowe's is at 20.7%. So they're growing a lot faster than Home Depot. The PEG ratio, you're looking to keep it at 1 or below. And look, Lowe's has a better PEG ratio. That's their price earnings growth ratio. And here's debt to earnings. Oh, Lowe's has twice the debt to their earnings that Home Depot does. They are nurturing twice as much debt as Home Depot is. So frankly, when I look at this chart, because I call Home Depot my home away from home, so this is a place I kind of hang out. When I go to Lowe's, I have a lower customer experience. They have people working at Lowe's who don't know their departments and can't answer my questions and don't even know the terms that I'm asking them when I go to their departments. When I go to Home Depot, those guys are experts. Those guys know their stuff. And many of them have been working in this industry for many, many years. And they'll always take stuff back. And I have actually owned Home Depot stock before. I don't think I own it right now. I'd have to look. But either of these is a pretty good play. But I would question why Lowe's has twice as much debt as Home Depot. It might mean they have a faster growth plan and they're taking on a lot of debt as they're creating this 20.7% growth rate, right? They're building buildings faster. They're putting out more locations and taking in more inventory to build out that growth rate, but they're taking on debt. And I would question that as a strategy. So you get to evaluate this. Do you want to take on the stock of a company that has a really stellar reputation, but it's not as pretty? Like Lowe's, the Lowe's locations are really pretty right now. Or would you rather take on the stock of a company that you see has a really stellar growth rate right now, but they also have high debt? Guess what stellar company didn't make a profit until I think it was 2 years ago? It hadn't made a profit and people were betting on the stock over and over and over again. And it went up and up and up and up, like astronomically up. And they hadn't made a profit. It was Tesla. Tesla wasn't profitable until I think it was 2019. And I had bought stock in Tesla. And everyone was betting on Tesla. Why? Well, it's a long, he has, as far as I can tell, he has a very long range plan that is fabulous. So now, stocks and investing. Now you have a good concept of the difference between an individual stock or security, an exchange traded fund, and an index fund. You know the benefits and risks of each, right? You're probably embracing more risk with an individual stock, but you're also potentially more upside. An exchange traded fund and the index fund are going to track with the stock market. And based on the one slide that asks you the questions, you know which kind of investor you are, and you know your money archetype. So you would plan and buy according to how much money you're willing to put in, whether you like math or not, whether you like to research things or not, and how comfortable you feel with money. And you know some of the critical numbers and facts to look for in a company's SEC filings. We just glossed over them. You don't know what all those things mean yet, but you know that those are some important things to look for when you're buying a stock. And you feel comfortable with who you are and how you could invest. So here are the rules of thumb for investing. You set aside monthly money. You make free trades. All those brokerage accounts that I listed in that you will get as a handout, they have free trades. You hold your stock for at least 5 years, and you build a portfolio of at least 10 to 25 different companies, and you sleep well at night. And you don't track the stock market every day, and you're not in there buying and selling every day. Maybe once a month you would buy something. It's a long game. It has lots of fluctuations. And my mom used to say, if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. If you can't take the fluctuations of the stock market, then that's not the thing that you would pick on that list of passive investments. Have I lost money in the stock market? You betcha. When the tech bubble burst, oh my goodness, it was enough to make me cry. But I believed in the stock market and that it would come back, and it did. So the recap of what you've gained here. So I have absolute confidence that you could take everything we learned here today. I'm kind of going to read this to you, and you could go out and put it into action and get results that you previously thought weren't possible. I'm certain that with the information we've covered, left on your own with your own resources, time and effort, and the 4 handouts I'm going to send you, you can make a go at investing for passive income in a way most people would never be able to. So you can use this, what you just learned in the last hour, and go run with it. And if you were only to pursue that, it would be a worthy ideal. But what if? But what if there were another option that allowed us to go at this together, to go deeper than we can in one little hour and one little webinar, connecting together one measly time? What if I played an active role in the results and took a responsibility in your success, and I have an obligation to your outcome, and I really care? I really do care. How would that make things different? Do you think that in that situation, I could empower you with any and all the resources at my disposal to stack the deck in your favor to make the success possible? If you had been on the horse with me in April 2010, your $2,000 would be worth $5,400 today. You think we could do that again? Yeah, absolutely we could. If I had shortcuts and support systems and additional insights that could help you go deeper and more thoroughly into getting the result that you want, that you desire, and that you deserve, if I had an option for you, would you love to hear more about it and what it could do for you? Would you like to hear about the option? Matt's nodding. I can't see most of you. This is why I'm introducing my Steps into Stocks program today. This is a new program. I have not introduced it to anyone before. So let me tell you what I'm including. And who knows, maybe in the future it won't include as many of the goodies as I'm giving people today, because I'm really looking forward to this program. So it's a 6-month custom program. It makes sure that I have a full understanding of your launching point and your values in our closed, safe environment. We'll regather your personal situation and improve your budget, your credit, and choose the best investing strategy for you. So there's also group coaching. So in a private coaching group space, we create a learning organization using real examples with companies that interest you. So you can bounce ideas off of other people. And then surrounding yourself with birds of a feather, beginner investors. So using the tools and examples, supporting and holding each other up. And learning this is like driving a car. So to learn how to evaluate companies and feel comfortable in the stock market, you do it over and over again and learn your lessons, and it helps to have a good supportive network. Upon completion, your credit is clean, your strategy is clear, you're managing your budget, and you know your end goals, and you've begun your portfolio. By the end of the 6 months, you have begun your portfolio. And then anytime you hear of a new stock or investment vehicle that somebody mentions, you have a sense of confidence, a spidey sense. You know, the spidey senses, you know, Mr. Spider-Man had his spidey sense to evaluate rather than act out of fear of missing out or desperation or someone else's opinion that this is a good thing. It's like, I'd really like to look at the reports on that. And you're not waiting for the perfect time to invest. The time is now. I cannot tell you how many people told me at the beginning of COVID-19, oh, I can't invest now. I don't know where the economy is going. No, we didn't know where the economy was going. Like I said, $2,000 would have gotten you $5,400 by now. We trust and we actually evaluate. So we don't leave it up to emotion. We actually evaluate. So the very next step is yours. The clean step forward is right in front of you. You can begin building wealth starting in October, which is when the program starts. There's no reason to wait any longer for someone you trust to help you achieve your financial goals and the knowledge you want to make your money work for you. So if you trust me, I am here for you. My big goal is to have people who say, look at what I've done and how different my life is since I don't worry about this anymore. I actually know how to evaluate and invest, and it's making a difference in my life. And I'll put all of your testimonials on my website. That's what I'd love to hear. You can hire someone to work on your credit report. That takes months and hundreds of dollars. You can hire a financial advisor to tell you when your money runs out. You can buy lots of programs that profess to give you tips on perfect stocks to invest in that are going to make you millions of dollars. You can pay a financial advisor to invest in stocks for you, and you don't have to touch any of this. No learning required on your part. And how many people do you know whose managed investments have zeroed out on a downturn? I talk to at least one person a week who gives me a horror story about how they had given them all their retirement money and suddenly in their account, there was nothing left. It's very sad, actually. Or you can jump on this opportunity to become an empowered investor. So this is about empowering you to know how to make these decisions. This is the program. There are 10 spaces available. Today's the first day I'm announcing it. This link is open for 4 days. So Sunday around this time, this link will expire. The program is $29.97. And the link is workforcemillionaire.com/step-into-stocks-education. And it includes an initial deep dive to figure out exactly where you are with your today's story. So that's your baseline. One-on-one coaching sessions every month, birds of a feather group every month, a results review at the end. And best of all, there's a whole bunch of bonuses. I don't know if these bonuses are going to be available in the future, but I am doing that this time. So number one, your personal FICO score evaluation. So I will review with you your credit score and how to make it better. So a FICO score allows you to get qualify for a mortgage, get a low mortgage rate, get a good credit card, and get a good loan rate for a car, things like that. Your credit score is actually really important, although most of us walk around with it and have no idea. Haven't looked at it in years. I don't know. You get one free credit score a year. You can just go to the credit organization and download it. You have an excellent credit rating. It can bring your mortgage rate down by 0.5%. I know this because I buy houses, right? So a difference between 780 and like 600 credit score can be 0.5% on a mortgage. That adds up to over $42,000 over a 30-year loan with a 400K mortgage. That is a lot of money. Having a good credit score is important. And how would you like to clean up your credit rating to qualify for the best of everything? It's a good feeling. Number two, A success simulation, personal session, lots of S's in that. That's a sneaky sentence. This will allow you to see how far your money goes. So this is an actual numeric simulator. I don't own the technology behind that. It's a very complex algorithm. I have been using it for 20 years, and it shows how Social Security is going to impact you. It allows what if scenarios. You can run a what if scenario like caring for a parent, selling a property, buying a house, selling a house, making more money, making less money. You can put all those what ifs into the algorithm. So we will have a personalized simulation session. When used right, it lets you sleep well at night because you know there's green at the end of the curve. So you press a button after you've entered all your data, and it shows you at what age your money runs out, if it does. And would you like my personal time to assist you in running the simulator and making it answer your biggest questions about your financial security? It's called a Monte Carlo simulator, and I've been using it for 20 years. That's the technology. Bonus number 3, real estate investing. This, of course, is not the thrust of this program, but people who are interested in learning about stock investing are often very interested in real estate investing. I had a summit with 6 experts from California to Oregon to Texas, where they gave us the best tips and rules to follow, what to look for when you hire an agent, what an excellent property manager looks like, and how to find them. And that can save you hours of frustration, thousands of dollars paid to agents, and years of hassles with property managers who aren't on your side. Please learn this from me and don't do that on your own. And wouldn't you like to hear from the best of the best in real estate and hear why all of their clients love them? I just loved interviewing these people. And at the end, I asked, why do you do what you do? And they all said, I love what I do. It was wonderful to hear that from them. And then bonus number 4 is the Bitcoin Summit access. So again, I put on a summit for Bitcoin to understand what it is and is it a valid investment. The summit brought in a very powerful group of people who have written books, who have been, the one woman in the group was there when they decided to name the blockchain. I mean, these are people who have been in this industry a long time. How would you like to know why Bitcoin instead of some other cryptocurrency? How do you set up a crypto wallet? Is crypto a solid investment? Why or why not? You get to make your decisions. Get the peace of mind of hearing about the pros and cons of this market from authors, investors, business owners, and a security expert. And wouldn't you like to be informed the next time someone asks you why you are or aren't invested in crypto? Nice to have an answer to that one. And then the final bonus is pocket money coaching. These would be short, sweet audio recordings from me on a variety of topics in real time. So you would get a post from me in real time that I've just posted, an audio file that helps you with your money mindset, math, gremlins, some of the ins and outs of the world of money that impact you, but you don't normally think about them. They're useful in everyday life and encouraging you to step up your game with money and your comfortable future. Would you like a direct line into the brain of me, who at the age of 42 was told that I never had to work again? I've gained millions in the stock market. My 2 new stock investments grew over, there you go, 260% during the year of shelter in place, while America was binge watching Netflix. You can learn these tips and tricks, and it doesn't take your entire life. It takes a few dedicated hours a month. So again, this is the offer, workforcemillionaire.com, step into stocks education. And that would take you to a description of what's in the program with more detail. And then it would take you to a PayPal page. So that link will be live for the next 4 days. It will expire on Sunday. So it includes your deep dive personal coaching session, your money power one-on-one coaching sessions, your birds of a feather group coaching sessions, a results review at the end of your 6 months, and the program begins October 1st. that is the end of our, yay, stop share. That is the end of our presentation. Would anyone have any questions? Hi, Noreen. Anyone here have any questions? Karen, hi, Karen. Hi, Renee. Renee, my buddy. I will send, let me make sure. Hi, Karen. I recognize Karen. Karen, Noreen, Dan, Lindy. We had Matt, Renee, Derica. I will make sure everybody who signed up today will get the handouts. Hey, Renee. No questions at the end? We're good? Noreen, you got anything?
I want to thank you for your time today, Lisa. This has been very, very interesting. I can't say that I've ever invested in stocks myself personally. So it's very interesting to see, things to look for, things to just be aware of. So it's very, very beneficial. So I just want to say thank you.
You are welcome. I'm glad you got something out of it, and you will get the handouts tonight. Karen, did you learn anything in here today?
I did. I came in a little later, and I just love how you make it look easy.
Oh, good. I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
Well, I know, but because there's a lot I don't know about money, and yeah, I think it's all interesting, and I just love the confidence too that you have, because the bottom line is how you feel about it. And I think I enjoyed hearing that, because if it's not really right in your gut, what you were saying about some things, and weighing and balancing things, because I think that's the biggest thing that I have is, gosh, I don't know, and I don't know enough about it. So
right.
I found that beneficial.
Many of us are afraid to make mistakes, and we feel like it'll all fall apart if we make mistakes. And I like to show people that it's not that terminal. I have definitely made mistakes in the stock market, but educated choices are the best things we do every day. Educated choices, that doesn't mean we're perfect. That doesn't mean the future is perfect. That doesn't mean we know every risk that's going to happen down the line, but educated decisions, so much better than listening to someone else saying, oh, you ought to buy this, and feeling like you know nothing, and spending some of your hard-earned cash on something you know nothing about. And what happens? How do you feel if you didn't evaluate it and then it goes south? I just really hate being in a victim mode. So I feel very empowered. And the reason I have confidence, how do we gain confidence? You're learning that in the program you're in right now, right? We gain confidence over time with competence. Confidence brings competence. Competence brings confidence. So I gained confidence by discovering that I was gaining competence and doing something over and over. So in this 6-month program, we are going to evaluate stocks over and over and talk about it logically and take the emotionalism out of it and say, is this a good investment? It's a great thing to have under your belt. Great thing.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. I love all of you. And
Thank you.
I'm going to end the recording. I wish you all a beautiful and blessed day.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.